fabulous Sunflower Garland set. It's just such a gorgeous set. You can use it any way you like. You can use it that way, or that way, or that way, or even that way. It looks equally as good whichever way around you use it. So, you know, the colour choices are up to you, the layout is up to you. I'm just going to show you 3 different ideas that I've had just using this one set. I know the design team samples are amazing, so there's plenty for you, plenty of inspiration for you to choose from. So I'm using the layering stencils. I'm also using the embossing folder and the 2 dies that come with it. The beauty of this set is that not only do you get the die that cuts out the whole thing like that, you also get an extra die which just cuts out the middle sunflower. So if you only wanted to use, say, 3 sunflowers and put your own stems from some of the die sets that you've already got, because there are stems in some of those, then you can do. And obviously there are a lot of leaves in a large foliage set, so you could use those leaves as well. So, you know, you've got several options with this set, which is why I think it's just such a fabulous set. So first things first, we're going to do the whole stencil, and then we're also going to do the single sunflower as well. So again, I've numbered my stencils. I've gone over the numbers with my Sharpie pen. I have to do that because if I don't, I'm just scared that I'll put the stencil the wrong way up, and then I'll be in a mess. Okay, so we're going to start with our greens. Now, on the samples that I've already done for the cards that I'm going to show you in a bit, I used Shabby Shutters and then Rustic Wilderness on top, but I've looked at them all this morning and I just don't feel that Shabby Shutters is dark enough, so I'm going in on here with Mowed Lawn for a change. Now this is quite a beautiful green. It's actually what you would expect, you know, mown lawn to look like. It's a beautiful grass green. I love this green. So I'm just going on with layer 1, which is the base of all the leaves. Okay, so that's layer 1, beautiful leaf set. Layer 2 is going to cut you all the detail for your leaves. So for this one I'm using quite a dark green, and I'm using Rustic Wilderness, and I'm going to go in with one of the stencil brushes as opposed to the Wonder brushes, because these apertures on here are a lot smaller, and I think the stencil brushes just give you more control over where you put your ink. So I think I've caught most of those apertures. I'll just lift it up and have a look. Yeah, I'm happy with those. Now those are quite a more vibrant green than the greens you'll see on the ones I've already done, okay, just to warn you. So number 3 gives you the 2 outside stencils. Now on here I'm using Scattered Straw and then Fossilised Amber. So that's the base of the sunflowers, layer 3, and then we're going to put the detail of the petals in. Okay, so for this one I'm going a little bit darker and I'm using Fossilised Amber. Okay, now before I take that off there, I'm just going to go in on these leaves with Rusty Hinge. That's the wrong brush. Just to give some detail to the petals, okay? So I'm coming from the middle out towards the outside of those petals with Rusty Hinge. You could use an orange if you wanted to. You could go with something like Ripe Persimmon, because that's quite a vibrant orange. But I just think Rusty Hinge is more of a browny orange and gives a little bit more depth to these petals. So that's why I've gone with that one. Okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I love the way that it just picks up certain aspects of the petals like that. So now we're going in with number 5. This is going to give us our main Sunflower. Now I'm going to start with fossilised amber on here because the colour that I'm going to add over the top is mustard seed, because mustard seed is really quite a deep vibrant yellow. So fossilised amber will give me a really good base for that. I mean, how quick is this? It's so fabulous. Right, so now I'm going in with mustard seed. Now, excuse the state of my mustard seed. I have no idea what's wrong with it. But it doesn't look like any of my other oxides. I've ordered a new one. However, it still works beautifully. But it just doesn't look very nice. So, I've ordered a new one and we'll see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to do the same again on here. But I'm going to go in with ripe persimmon on this, because ripe persimmon's quite a deep orange, and I want this to stand out because it's on the bigger sunflower. So I want this to be really not in your face, but a little bit more obvious than the smaller ones. Okay, so I'm leaving that like that. Now then, the middle of this one, why did I not do the middle of the small one? I'll have to go back to that in a minute. The middle of this one I'm going to go in with Vintage Photo because it's a darker brown, and I want the middle of the flower to be that sort of really nice rich brown colour. And you'll notice that when I've added this, I'm just going to go over the edge with this brown into that orange as well. Because when I come to put the seed heads in, the seed heads are going to be black, because obviously the black's going to stand out a little bit more on the brown. So the ones I've already done for my samples are a lot softer colours than these, but I just wanted to go a little bit deeper with these. Okay, yeah, I like that. So I'll just pop back and do the middle of these in exactly the same way. Okay, yeah, happy with that. So then I'm just going to go in and add the detail into my sunflowers. Now, before I put this away, I'm going to do these little apertures here are, you know, when sunflowers start to come out and you can see the sort of the seed heads before you see the petals. That's what these little bits are. So don't look at it and think, what on earth colour would I use on here? I'm using brown Vintage Photo, same as I've used on the rest of the card, just to tie it in. If you wanted to use a darker brown, you could do, but it's just a little bit of detail that I think just makes this set look fabulous, because sometimes if you miss bits of detail out like this, it just spoils the overall effect. Yeah, happy with that, see? So now I'm going to do the seeds, and I'm going to go in with my black. Get the right brush. I'm going to go in with black soot. Now, because these are tiny holes, I'm dabbing here rather than going round in circular motions, because I want the ink to actually go through into those holes. Okay, and if I lift it up, you'll see how beautifully that sort of adds that seed head detail. I think that's fab. Okay, how beautiful does that look? I just think it's the most fabulous set. And you can cut it all out in one go. But not only that, you also get a single die for the central sunflower. Okay, so just quickly, if we just do that centre one, it just shows you how good these stencils are, because I'm using 5, 6 and 7 to add all my colour and my detail, and I don't need any of the others. And this one will give you, wrong brush, I'm going to have a horrible colour now in the middle. This one will give you a little white offset. Okay, I don't think that's a problem, because if you're just using the flowers, then that little white offset will look fabulous when you add other foliage or you know, different things to it. It'll just look amazing. So I'm adding my weird mustard seed. Okay, it's so quick, so easy. Really bright persimmon, because it's such a beautiful deep orange, and because this is so big, I think it can take that extra colour. Just keep using your brush, blending the colour out till you're happy with how it looks, and then go in and add your brown to the centre. So then you would go in with the last one and add in all the seed head detail again, same as I've done on the others. I'm not going to do it now because it's going to take me too long and I want to put these cards together. But then all you do is take your die and cut it out, and you see, you can tell that you're going to get an offset with this die. And I just think that will make that. I think it'll look perfect. When you add it to cards and things, I just think it'll look amazing. Okay, so this is the first one, and you can see I've also used the summer wreath on here. Now I've done quite a bit ahead of time because, as I say, there were 3 cards that I've made. Now I've looked at this morning and I've realised that this is not quite in the right place, but I think once everything else is put together, I don't think it'll matter. So on here I've used the fabulous ribbons and bows. I'm using the bold words, I'm using the summer wreath, but I'm only using a couple of elements of that, and the bubble squares. So I've already cut my 2 pieces of summer wreath and laid it down. I've used the satin card for my bubble squares, and then the next layer down just to give me my backing. So I haven't put them so that they meet, because my gap is going to be covered by my bow. So if I take the backs off here, which I've already prepped, so I know I'm not going to be taking too much time. So my bow's going to go at the top, and I've used the same green card as the backing on the summer wreath, and then my sunflower is going to go down here. Now I thought, well, that looks okay, but it looks a little bit bare, so I also cut 2 sunflowers from the summer wreath set, and the little buds as well to go under there. I'm not putting this all together, because if I put it all together, we'll be here forever. So I'll just place it how I'm going to put it, and then I'll put them all together afterwards and put a photo A with the video and B in the group. Okay, then I also used the bold words. I've 3D'd the bold words. I am going to put that on because it's not going to take long. And that's just going to go across the middle there, so that it doesn't catch the bow in any shape or form. It just goes across the middle of my wreath there. Okay, now I don't know whether you noticed, but I've also done the stenciling on dark card. This is on grey. It's American craft card stock, and I just thought, I wondered what it would look like done on a darker card. And I think the heavier yellows that you use, I still think it works. And when you come to cut it out, you won't have a white offset, you'll have a dark offset, and I think that looks equally as, I'm not putting it on this card because it won't match, but it just goes to show you can use it on dark card as well. Okay, so that's the first one. And then I made this one, and on here I've used the Brickwork 3D embossing folder, the butterflies, so I've used the embossing folder and the stencils and the dies. I've used this fabulous Essential Edges die set, which is sadly underestimated die set in my opinion, and I made a cloud stencil. So I just cut the one edge, this one, on white card, and I've used it as a stencil to make my background. Okay, so my base card will go here. So again, I've done the stencil, done the layering stencils, and I've cut an extra one, an extra large one, and 3D'd that on the top of the original one. I've cut the wall, the brickwork stencil, and I've cut bits out of it. I've cut it onto a pale cream card, and then I've added vintage photo ink on the top and a little bit of green, just to sort of give the wall a little bit of age, if you like. And then I'm going to place my sunflowers on the top of the wall. My sentiment is going here. This is from the banner sentiments, so those are the banner sentiments. But what I'm trying to do is show you how easily new product from Lisa will always work with older product. Okay, so don't ever worry that you're going to buy something, use it a couple of times, then buy something new and then not use your original stuff, because that's just not going to happen. And then I've also used the butterflies, and I've only used the smallest one, and I'm just going to add the butterfly on top of the sunflower just to give it a little bit more detail. Okay, so again, I'll put that together in a second, and I'll add it onto the end of the video. And then the other one, the last one, I've used the Slimline honeycomb frame, the bold phrases. I've also used the fabulous linen texture background stamp, and I've stamped my card with, there's 3 different coloured inks there. I've just inked the stamp and then just stamped it down and then repeated it, because obviously this is a square stamp and this is a slimline folder. So don't worry about this line here, because you're going to lose that. Okay, and then again I've used the pastel dewdrops, but again they come in clear or pastel. So for this one, as I say, I used the honeycomb frame and I used the 2 largest ones. I've cut the background in satin card, and then this is just ordinary white card that I've inked, okay, with the stamp. So then I've cut out the sunflower after I've stenciled it, and you can see I've added my little dewdrops here. Okay, now I would dearly love to say to you that I didn't emboss this one, because I wanted to show you that it looks equally as good not embossed as it does embossed, but I'd be lying, because actually what I did do was forget to emboss it. So whilst I could sit here and say I deliberately didn't, I didn't. But again, here is one done on dark card. Now I think this would be perfect for a mail card, for a man who loves gardening, because you know there are loads of men out there that love flowers, so there is no reason why you can't put flowers on a card for a fella. But if you do it on dark card, I just think it looks a little bit more masculine than doing it on white card, because that to me is a softer colour and looks a little bit more feminine. So I'm using this one today because it went with my background. Okay, I am going to just quickly stick this down because I want to put the sentiment on as well. So I'm just popping that down there. I'm not worried about it being on the edge of the card or it going over the frame, don't mind that at all. And then my sentiment comes from the bold phrases. Now you can see I've only put 3D pads on one side of this because I'm going to stick it down here level with this, so I only need the 3D pads at the side where it's, because all this is 3D'd. If I don't put 3D pads on here, then it's going to look wonky. Okay, so that's going there, and again I've cut the background in satin card and the word actually in brown card. So you see, you can put, you can do anything. Shall I put these together before we go, just so that you can see them all finished? So I'm going to put my little sunflower garland on here. Now you'll notice on here I also cut away the extra leaves. So these leaves here I've cut away on this So then I'll just add my little butterfly on here. He might not stick straight away, but he's not going anywhere, I promise you. Now you can either 3D your sentiment, which I think I probably will actually, and put that across the top, or you could lay it totally flat. Totally up to you. I'm gonna 3D it, but I need to reach some other pads out. So let's just add these extra little sunflowers down here, and then that one's finished as well. I'm going to put that so that this top bit comes down here, so in the middle of there, so I'm losing that gap, so my wreath actually looks as though it could be complete actually, although it isn't, but nobody's going to know that, only you. So I'll just put the other two. And all I've done with this is ink some card up with mustard seed, cut the die twice, cut the little black bit, because you get all the elements in the summer wreath set. Where is it? So you get all these fabulous little elements. So I've cut this one twice and this one twice, and then just layered them up, and then just sort of aligned them so that they're not on top of one another totally, they're sort of slightly askew, and I just think it makes a bit of a difference, just an extra little bit of detail that there's probably a bit much glue on there. Okay, so we'll just pop these down here. Okay, so 3 cards, all with the same stencils, die set, different ideas, just with one of the die sets. I will love you and leave you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. Bye for now, everybody.